You'll have the ad, the one about, the math or science teacher.
That's right.
So, that out anything. Yes, there's a good crowd over there right now.
Yeah, let's do something. Do you remember when you recorded that thing when Cheryl, or it was recorded, you recorded when Cheryl gave a presentation on drafting legislation? When you sent it to us in a shared server, which we did not download and save.
The only thing Paul's started is we're not going and spending money every day.
If you have.
Oh, I need this.
We always gave our news like, would you need that? No, parking before I go up.
The one you were just
Oh,
I'm not
I love it. A couple of us would not be happy.
Oh,
Well, they blocked us off with the new door, just our side, and the regular door, you know. Actually, it's so pretty,
All right, I appreciate everyone being here. It's I've got 10 o'clock, so we'll get started. We are being live streamed, so I want to make sure and accommodate everyone out there. So I'll be using the microphone. At any time, if you have any kind of questions, just stop me, ask me. More than happy to answer any kind of questions that you have. So hold on just a second. There we go. All right, we have are releasing today the My School Info site. And what the My School Info site does is we have essentially tried to combine many data sets, make data all available in one place, looking at, in particular, school level and district level data, historical, and that includes demographics, it includes financial, student achievement, just many different things, and so that it would be useful for parents, the public, schools, people of all policymakers, everyone to be able to find information and, more importantly, to be able to use it. So, you know, with this, hoping to increase efficiency, effectiveness, and transparency throughout the state. And so this is a public tool. Anyone can log into. They can use it. It's essentially a website that you go on, get any kind of information you want. So I plan on presenting for roughly about 45 minutes, an hour. I'll stay as long as you need me to stay, as long as you have questions, and answer anything that you have. There are lots of components to it, and so I will get into that. So, have y'all seen enough numbers in the last 24 hours? All right, well, I'll show you a whole lot more here, right? Never get enough. So here is the homepage, if you will. You can always get to the homepage through the search button. I'll be focusing a lot on how to use it because there's so much data in here, there's no way I can go over everything that's in here. We have roughly 4 million data points in here at this point, continuing to grow, and different things. So this search right here always brings you back to the home. You can get to anything that you want to get to. You have a compare feature. I'll talk to you about that here in just a little bit. I'll show you how to use it. The analyzer, I'll cover that one as well. FAQ, if at any point you have a question over, you know, what is this, what is the definition of this data? What am I looking at? You can go in here and that'll give you the definition. There's also some other ways to do that, and I'll describe those ways to do that whenever we get to that point. And the login. Login's not necessary. The only time a login is necessary is whenever the data is protected, and that's available for school personnel that have those rights. Now, you can also search for schools, or you can search for districts, and you can just toggle back and forth between one and the other. And I'll get with that here in just a second and show you a little bit about how that works. You also have advanced filters here, which I'll describe also. Here you have Arkansas state information. This is state level information. And then you also have statewide information. So this is statewide information concerning districts and statewide information for schools. All right, there's a lot there. And like I said, I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you how you would be able to use it. You know, a lot of this I want you to think about is from many perspectives. As I said earlier, it's helpful for parents, it's helpful for schools, for policymakers, and so you'll be able to see different things that will help, hopefully, each group to be able to do what they want to do. So within the schools, you notice that you can search for schools. You can search by name, by city, by district, by zip, by county, by co-op, by Arkansas Legislative District. You can do all of those different searches. Just for the sake of time, we don't have time to go through each one of those, but I do encourage you to get on here and play with it and to find the different things that are in there and learn how to use them in ways that you can benefit. I'll start with schools. For example, give you an idea. If you pull up a school, I'm going to put in a school name. Say you're searching by name. I'll put one in. Put in Caldwell for Caldwell Elementary School, and then you just search for it. And what it does is it's going to show you the search results. So right here, this is saying, according to your search, searching for that name one school found, and I'll show you how that looks. But if you notice, you have this map right here, and this map is using Google Maps also. And you can flip it to satellite if you want to go to satellite. You can zoom out and just show you one thing that you have here. Within this, you also have school district boundaries. So if you want to look at school district boundaries, one common question we have is, what school district do I live in? You can easily find that information. You click on it, it tells you which school district you're dealing with, just based upon that. So you can find the boundaries, go from there. Now looking down here at our search results, let me square up that map a little bit. You look at the results, and there's only one school with that name right there. So this gives you a little bit of overview about that school, just some real not generic, but more high-level information about that school. You just select that school, and what this is going to do is take you to a profile of that school. So within this, and the contrast it's really bright on this screen. There's a little more contrast on the actual site. So I encourage you to do that and use that. This will give you an overview of the school. And what you do is you can select the year. I know it's hard to see the drop-down box and everything over there, but you can select the year that you want to look at. There's information concerning the website, the contact information, telephone number. And here's some general information about this particular school. Now within this, some of the feedback we got from parents was information that they wanted to see about schools. And some of the information that they wanted to see about schools, I wanted to show you right here, kind of starts with school hours and all this information down through here. So you can go in and find out, for example, your particular school or other schools, academic programs, the enrichment programs that are offered. Do they have a summer program? Do they have some of these other programs that are available right here? It's all right there available for you to use. You also have the congressional districts, the co-op, educational co-op that serves the school, representatives and senators within that, as well as the map that shows where the school is at. From this page right here, you're also linked to the federal government census data. So if you're a parent, you're trying to move into an area, you want to find out information, say about median house size, anything to deal with the census data, you can go there. That takes you to the census page, so you can then do searches from there. Also, you can go to the labor market information. This is from the Department of Workforce Services on the labor market information throughout the state. So you can find out, for example, what jobs are trending upwards, what jobs are trending downwards, the pay, all of that stuff. You can easily get to that information from right here. So you have this as, if you would, the landing page of the school profile report. And you can click on statistics. Let me show you, like, as we're constantly updating different data throughout the year, just because data comes in, this is data from schools and other sources, and combining it, we update it. But you go to statistics, this will give you an overview of the statistics of that school, mainly focused on student demographics and other information, student-teacher ratio, those things. And you can click on performance, gives you a graph, how students, percent of students meeting standard by the subjects on their tested. You can hover over that, and you can get those numbers. So this is, if you would, a profile of the school, generic information. Any questions on that so far? Hopefully that's real easy to find out information about a particular school or anything that you want. So that was kind of the goal. Now you could also, I'm going to back out of this and I'll show you some more. You could search, say, for a zip code. So if you're just looking for an area and want to find out all the schools or anything within that, you can do that. You can also, I'm going to get over here in the districts tab because I'm going to show you a lot more things that you can do with it here. Let's say that you're trying to filter out districts. So you're looking, say, statewide, and you want to know, say, districts of a certain size of enrollment. You can set your filters however you want to set them. That one's dealing with enrollment size and, say, free and reduced lunch size. Because sometimes when you're trying to compare schools or compare districts, you want them to be similar. And the similarity may be with the size. It may be with the free and reduced population, or a combination of both. So you could easily run a report like this. Let me open up this enrollment just a little more to show you this. A little more. So if those were the criteria I would set, the enrollment and the free and reduced, then you just do a search and it looks statewide and says, okay, here's all of those. Here's all those that meet that criteria. You could further adjust the criteria, whatever you want it to be, and narrow down your results to find the districts that you want. You can do the same thing with schools. Let me back up and show you another application that you can do. Let's say you're in the district looking at a zip code. I'll type in a zip code to get results. And I got too many numbers there, don't I? All right. I'll pull it up. This tells me right here, this is within 25 miles of that zip code, there are 31 districts found. I can adjust this to be whatever I want it to be. Let's say I go down to 15 miles. So within 15 miles of that zip code, say you're moving into an area, you can find out all the schools or the districts. I'm on the district search right now, and find out which meet the criteria that you want. So we're looking at these districts right here. Now I'm going to show you how you can do some other things. If you know, if you've ever used like Amazon.com, you want to buy something and you click on it and you put it in your shopping cart. Kind of works like that with this compare feature. So if I were to select, for example, this very first one, you notice that now it says, okay, now there's one up there to compare. Also, there's this compare button right here that pops up. The second you select that. I'm just going to select these. You can select up to 5, either schools or districts, whatever you want to do, and say you want to compare them. So it takes you to this page, which says, yeah, these are the 5 I want to look at. You can remove them if you want to remove them from here. But say you simply want to compare it. So we looked at the results. This has the state in there. I'm going to go ahead and remove the state. And just for our purposes, so we can look at some data, I'll select 13-14. Just depends upon whatever year that you want to look at. This takes those that you selected and remove the state by just simply clicking the X button. This lays them out side by side. So you can easily compare them. There's college going rate. You may want to look at a graph like this and say remove a school from here, from the graph. You just click on it and it takes it off there. Click on it again, it's there again. There's graduation rate, expenditures per student, average year's teaching experience, student-teacher ratio, student performance across all the different testing areas. These are the combined populations, and I'll talk more about this here in just a little bit. Their ACT scores. So you can compare those right across with that. You can also, their student demographics. You can compare the demographics of the students across those districts as well. It's all right there available. And I do want to put a plug in right here. See the feedback button? It's really important that we receive feedback. So at any time you're using this and you feel, hey, we've got an idea, it would be helpful if this or that, or find an issue, please just select the feedback button and send that to us, because this is user driven and we want to make sure that we have everything that people need here. Any questions so far? All right. So that gives you the ability, looking at the profile, and I showed you can do that with schools. You can do it with districts. But now I'm going to show you where a lot more of the data is. Because as I said, the profile, those are defined elements. And sometimes the elements that you want to look at, depending upon whatever you're doing, may be more. So if you go right here, this gold button says custom report, that's where your information is. That's where you'll probably want to do a lot of your more detailed analysis. So I'm going to select that custom report. Let me show you what this looks like. Right here are the districts that you selected. Notice that we have those districts that we selected. I'm going to go ahead and remove the state. It by default puts it in there. So always make sure and select the districts and look at the trending. What the trending is, that's the time frame that you're looking at. I'll pick, say, 14-15. And then once you select those two, the districts and the trending, that's who you want to look at, and that's the year you want to look at. Then you decide what information you want to see. So there are a lot of data elements right here. You don't have to get into each one. You don't have to get dirty into it if you don't want to. You can stay high level, or you can dig in just a little bit. But I want to spend a little bit of time here on going through a lot of these data elements, because then you'll see there are certain things in here you may want to look at. And I do encourage you to spend time in looking at some of the stuff that's available, because there's lots of information that there's no way I can begin to cover it all here. So if you look, and by the way, this type of screen, this type of view right here, you're going to see this same data set in other parts that I'm going to show you later. So once you're familiar with this, you're going to just see it repeated and repeated again, so that makes it easier for you to use in some of the other tools. So for example, there's general information. So say you want to look at total enrollment, any of these information. Is it a 4-day school, block schedule, magnet school? Looking at the status on that. That's just some general information concerning those schools that you may want to look at and compare side by side. Student information. This is a large one. And these are school level data, so this is not individual student information. Keep that in mind. This is all aggregate data at the school level. ABC enrollment. Attendance rates. And for example, like attendance rates, has it broken down by the subpopulation and the combined. Earlier I said, if you want to know what a data element is, you can go to that FAQ section, or from here you can just hover over it. So as you're working through here, if you have a question over what one of the data elements means, you can just hover over it and it gives you the definition right there. So you can decide whether or not that's something you want to look at. There are a lot of categories here. I'm going to spend just a little time so you can get a feel for what's in here. Average daily membership, 3/4 ADM. You know, let's say we were selecting 3/4 ADM. We'll select some of these. We'll look at this. Career education completers. You can find out the career education completers in each one of these categories at each one of these schools or districts, and look at the past results. That's very helpful if you're looking at the labor market information and comparing, you know, are the students coming out of fields that are in high demand? Course enrollment, AP, career technical, all of these different areas. Demographics, demographic percentages. I know earlier one of them that I selected was 3/4 ADM. Let me show you a little bit more here in just a second. There's disciplinary actions, disciplinary infractions. You could find a certain disciplinary infraction and say, is it on the rise? Is it staying the same? How is it compared to others around us? You can do all that from right here. There are discipline, dropouts and withdrawals, enrollment by grade and race, free reduced, percentages, GT, graduates, graduation rates. You see there's a lot of information here. There's a lot. It just depends on what you want to look at. It's totally up to you. Retention, school choice, all of those elements are there. You may want to look at finance information. Let me show you the finance section. You can look at balances. You can look at expenditures. All of these expenditures are here available. You can look at millage information, property values, revenue. A lot of things. It just depends on what you want to look at. Here's personnel, classified staff, licensed salary schedule. That's a popular one, is districts try to compare numbers on how their salary schedules compared to those around them. You can select that and you can look at that and you can see how they're doing as well as their average pay. the number of licensed staff, that's those that are not teachers, and then the number of teachers here also. It's broken down by demographics, advanced degrees, all of those different things you can look at. You may want to look at, say, benchmark assessments. You may want to look at PARC assessments, ACT Aspire results. So if you look, for example, at ACT Aspire, and it's kind of the same as PARC and benchmark, but let me just show you what this looks like. There's third grade literacy. You have it for each group. So you can look at each group. If you want to select all of them, oh, sorry, something went wild there on my mouse. If you want to look at all of them, you could select that and you'd have all of them. Okay? Or you can just select the ones that you want. ACT performance, say you select all of those. So let me show you what that type of report would generate. So you generate the report. We selected the ADM, the 3/4 ADM, and we selected the ACT performance. You can have as many elements as you want on here. You can have 100 graphs if you want to have 100 graphs. Or you can have one graph. It's entirely up to you. Now, what you can do from here also is, let's say you want to save it, send it to somebody, or save it for your computer, email, whatever else. You can click on Export to PDF. Excuse me. And what that'll do is that will prepare it in a PDF format already for you. So all you have to do is hit the email button and you can send it to whoever wants to see it. You also have, let me show you what that would look like. Right there. And it cuts off the graphs so it's all correct and on each page so it doesn't look disjointed from one page to the next. You can also export the data to Excel. Say you want to work with it in Excel, you click on that, it takes you there. Excuse me. All right, so you're looking at this report and say that you produce this report and you say, oh, there's some things I want to change. We'll just click on Edit Report Parameters. This brings you back to this screen. And from this screen, if you want to clear all these, you can just clear that. It'll clear them out for you. I'm going to keep those just for our purposes. Let's look at some other information. Let me show you some things how districts can use. We'll select 15, 16, keep that same data. But let's look at, instead of ACT, let's look at some ACT Aspire results. So, for example, third grade literacy. I selected all the groups. So then you can look at all the subpopulations of third grade literacy. You can hover over the graph, get the results. You can find out who's doing a good job with a particular subpopulation that you may be able to model after. You can look for that. You can find that right there. And you can look at your own students. So you can look at just one school or district, or you can look at multiple. It's entirely up to you. Let me show you one other way to use a custom report that's a little different. Notice that we looked at, let me remove these, but we have the 3/4 ADM. One popular thing that a lot of schools and districts like to look at is their enrollment and how are they doing. So we had the 3/4 ADM, but another thing that people like to look at is also their kindergarten enrollment. And so, because that lets you know, are they going up? Are they going down? What's it look like over time? So let me get to the enrollment section that we looked at earlier and select on the kindergarten. Without doing a whole lot right there. And let me go into trending, because you may not want to look at it for 1 year. You might want to look at it for multiple years. So I'm going to select that right there. That's 2013-14 through 16-17. You generate the report. And this puts everybody up there together. So you can see, are people increasing? Are they decreasing? You can find out what about their kindergarten. You can easily look at all that information. You can compare it. You can do anything that you want to do with it from there. Download it, PDF, Excel, whatever you want. Any questions so far? There's a lot of information here. I do encourage you to get on there and click around, find some things, dig for some things. You can find lots of information that's very helpful. Let me go back to the home page right here and show you a couple other things that we have. You also have the analyzer. And let me click on the analyzer. What the analyzer allows you to do is to simply look at, look at two different elements and graph them all at once. I'm sorry, my mouse is acting really weird here. So you can select on if you want to look at school or you want to look at district. For example, say you want to look at district and you want to look at if you want to filter them, or you can look statewide. This looks at everybody statewide if you do not select a filter. So I'll just show you some information that you have available here. It's the exact same data set that we just looked at, and you can go everything you want. So if you want to look at, for example, a generic one may be the total number of students that you have, and you might want to look at that as compared to the number of teachers that you have and see how that relation's going if you're looking at student-teacher ratios or anything of that nature. So right there, that gives you a graph throughout the whole state. You can see the correlation if you want to look at the trend line, and you can find out, you can hover over and see everybody's results, and you can find out where you fall on that line. Are you above it? Are you below it? Are you right in line? And each school and district is unique and has unique circumstances, but it does give you the opportunity to look at that and see how you compare statewide. Now, that's the analyzer. From the analyzer, you can also export to PDF or Excel, anything that you want there. Let me go back and show you another one right here. Another couple of different ones. Here's district statewide reports and school statewide reports. And what that is that lets you look at all the schools and all the districts across the entire state. Notice we have the exact same database that we looked at. So if you want to look at, for example, a popular one that people want to look at is they want to look at average teacher salaries. You can pull up average teacher salaries all across the state. You could do lots of things with that. I'll look at one, for example, ACT Aspire. Let me make sure I have a good 15, 16. You look at student achievement results. We'll just pick one here. Let's say 5th grade literacy. You can select all. I want to look at each one of those. So it's going to pull it up. It's going to pull all that data. And what it's doing is pulling all of that data for every school across the state. And it lists them here. So you can export that. You can do whatever you want with that. But I'm going to show you how you can use it in the format that it's in. If you go to toggle full screen, that'll help you see it a little easier. So you look at a particular group. You may want to look at, let's say, the Hispanic group, and you want to see we're in 5th grade literacy. You click on that, and what that does is sort it. And this sorts it from high to low or low to high. So you can find out who's doing a good job with that area, who's has opportunities in front of them. You can also filter it from here. You have the maximum, you have the minimum, you have the averages, which are all listed down here. So you can instantly pull up, as I mentioned earlier, imagine something like this with teacher salary schedules or average teacher pay, student achievement. You could do sizes on student enrollment. It entirely depends upon whatever it is you want to look at. So that gets you going back to that screen. You have that report. Like I said, you can export it. You can do whatever you want to do. Say you want to edit it. Just as we did on the other one, it just takes you back to this screen right here where you selected the data elements you want to look at. And you just select exactly what it is you want to look at and how you want to see it. So, any questions at this point? I'm clearing out the compare.
Is the only way to get to the detailed data is if you go through the compare?
Yeah, you can go, unless you want to go through statewide.
Okay.
You can go directly into the statewide, and you're already there, and you're looking at everything statewide. And even within the statewide reports, here's a district statewide reports. You can, you can. It just takes you right there, and you can look at them. Good question. What else? I know it's a lot of numbers, and y'all have seen a lot of numbers lately. But hopefully it's in a way that you can find the data that you need. You can, look at trends over time. You can see it graphically. You can share it with others, and you have easy access to it. Now, this data, as I said, is a result of what schools submit to us, and it's updated many times throughout the years. We have new data. We continually to update the data sets and bring it in here so it's relevant. I believe this is going to make the job of administrators, school personnel, a lot more efficient and a lot more effective, where they're able to look at these things. And the public, with transparency, looking at things, they can find out things that are effective and have questions and just look overall at the state of things. Any other questions? Yes, if you are watching this online, Kim Friedman with Communications, if you could email her, she'll be more than happy to help you in any way with that. But that is my presentation, unless there are no questions. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate everyone. Thank you. Yeah. Feel free to use it. Get on there. The website's there at https:// myschoolinfo.arkansas.gov. So, thank you.